Hello and welcome to the Energy Show number 11, my special magic number, that is. And so this is perfect to talk about last week's Star Lab and the magic words. And let's find out if we can find some magic words to help us grow. Wouldn't that be nice? Would you
Fantastic.
enjoy that?
Yes, please. Let's play the intro.
Yeah, if I could find it, it'd be great, wouldn't it? Well, imagine we have played the intro. Let's get straight into it, shall we?
Okay. What a
Let's do
lovely
it
intro that was.
live. Yeah, let's do it live.
So we had a lovely Star Lab this month called Magic Words, where we looked at all sorts of ways that we speak with ourselves, our internal dialogue, the words we use to motivate ourselves, the words that we know have had past effect on other people. As a species, our language must be at the top of our list of skills we can really be proud of. I'd say our flying abilities, swimming abilities, submersible abilities are fairly subpar in the animal kingdom.
The keeping yourself warm in the winter abilities is also terrible without clothes.
Nest building. Oh dear, exactly. So yeah, magic words is fascinating, isn't it? Because that really does give us such a incredible tool for, there's 8.2 billion of us on the planet, and I think the Israeli researcher historian, I'm awful at saying his name, Noral Havani, was saying that if you imagined just 1,000 chimps in like a market square and the chaos of effluent throwing and like fights and
that's what
insane.
Civilization is for, isn't it? To stop that from happening, to start doing something differently instead. You know what I always find fascinating is when I'm driving in a car in a very busy place like a big city or a big motorway junction, and I see all these cars with all these people in them, and many of them held not to be very at the top of intelligence in their general lives, and how few accidents there actually are, considering the amounts of people and what kind of people are there behind the wheels of these millions of boxes, and they don't create carnage, really. It's astonishing me. This always astonishes me, and it reminds me that humanity is probably a great deal better than we are allowed to believe of ourselves. And yeah, this I like this monkey example a lot. It's good.
One of the things that I find really fascinating is that as a species, we prefer to be wrong as a group than right as individuals. So you may think, oh, but surely it's best to make the right decision, elect the right leaders, and buy the right things at the supermarket, and always let's use science to guide us. But actually, what our species has really done is actually, if we go down, we go down together. If we thrive together, and that is, again, it's part of human nature, isn't it? Like you don't mind being wrong if everyone else is wrong. You hate being wrong if everyone else is right.
Well, every so often you get an oddball emerging somewhere from a swamp or a cave, and they will.
You really need to be kinder to yourself.
And these people,
and there we have the magic words again.
And there we might say that, there are some among us who'll just rather have the truth than have the appreciation of the companions of their age. And, it does happen. It's part of this wonderful human variance, right? And you do need those people once in a while. And I'm going to just going to mention this. So I've created this thing called Star Matrix. And I've also written numerous books about it. And I've said that every person, human beings need some kind of internal structure, a matrix by which they can operate. If they haven't got one, they're going to go mad. And these matrices, they are like computer programs. They are like computer programs. Some of them have major bugs in them, and they cause, if you adopt that matrix, it's going to be very difficult for you to try and be happy, basically. It's going to make it really difficult to live life as a human being. And so I wanted to create a matrix that was more loving, more supportive of the way human beings think and talk and work. And it came to pass that I was asked what do you call the creator of a matrix? And I went, that would be a matrician. And I was like, yay, finally, I found what I can call myself. I am a matrician. I try to construct a matrix. Before we go any further, there may be some watchers here, viewers, listeners, who may not know what a star lab is. So let me just briefly explain this, and then we'll go into how what we've discovered and what we found and what we thought was particularly interesting about it. So a star lab is a very small group of people who know what I do and are familiar with the basic techniques. And we get together and choose a topic and then start to investigate that, see what we can learn from our experiences when we put them together, and in a group bubble, previously known as a mastermind group. But new ideas emerge and new research directions, and that's why it's called a star lab, because it is a lab. It's not a training. It's not just a conversation. It's not a show. It is literally people who are very interested in the topics, discussing them and coming up with new ideas, which is what the point of a star lab is. Our next one is Winter Wonderland, where we're just going to go mad with Supermind and Project Sanctuary and Father Christmas and elves and gifts and Northern Lights, and just really go for it with no holds barred on what our dear energy minds can give us to make our souls happier. But yeah. So the magic word Star Lab, I really enjoyed it.
Yes. I think one of the things I wrote down was flowing words, flying birds. And what I meant by that is letting your words flow without having more faith in what you're going to say, rather than, seeing someone you want to chat to and think, oh, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? And if they say this, what should I say then? And at that point, that person's already walked away. No, just have that confidence, have that self-belief in your own words. Let your words flow.
Something will come to you. Have that trust that something will come to you. Absolutely.
And the second part was that the flying birds thing was, once the doves have been released, they're gone. Relax. Once your words are out there, just it's fine, just let it be.
Then we come to my words are sounds and words are wings. They touch you, show you many things. And so one of the key things with communication and magic words and everything else is clearly blockages and reversals in this area. So if you suffer from that problem, that you feel your throat getting tight or your mouth getting dry when you want to be communicating with somebody, or you want to be communicating in a video or wherever else you might want to be communicating, just do a little bit of energy work, either EMO, which I'm a huge fan of because that directly works with the affected areas, or using Alex's beautiful setup, which was...
Oh, yes, they're flowing words, flying birds.
Flowing words, flying birds, and tap a nice round of modern energy tapping with that. And even just saying that and me making the movements without us actually doing the tapping is soothing. I love it. Flying birds, flowing words. Very beautiful.
When I was teaching the energy dating course, people used to always have that problem about finding the most ideal thing to say to someone, and wanting something. There's whole genres on the internet of opening statements or chat up lines or that.
And they just don't work. They just don't work.
Well, I mean, they might have worked for the person that said them, or
on that one occasion.
Look, people over the millennia have always thought about the perfect thing to say as someone walks away. Or, an hour later, when an hour later you think, oh, I should have said that.
Yes.
You can, even if you go up to someone and saying, I don't know, you're giving frog energy. I'm getting a frog vibe from you. Or you remind me of a happy rabbit. That is still, it might go down horribly wrong, or the other person might smile and say, what the hell are you on? But even so, I mean, the chances of that conversation going anywhere
are as high as using some old chat-up line that worked in the 18th century, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, taking a Bayesian approach to probability as well, when you have a zero chance of, when that person's walked away and you think of the perfect thing to say like the next day.
Well, to engage our viewers and listeners, I would like to invite you, our dear multidimensional being on the other side of the screen, to just remember a time when you said something just perfect to somebody. It was absolutely perfect, and you knew it was because you could see the result that had on the person in question. I'd just like you to remember that has happened to you. You have done that. And how good that feels, how amazing that is, what a wow that gives you, and what a much better appreciation for the power of magic words you come away with when you realize, my God, I can have such an impact on a person. There are people among us right now who are listening to this, who are remembering a time when they said something, a little sentence or a little word or something, and they actually changed a person's life in that moment, just like that. And so,
can we also, as this energy show is just us and our wonderful audience, can we also invite them to acknowledge those times when they were maybe put under pressure, or someone said something, or it doesn't have to be this healing event and you've changed that person's life for the better. It could be something said out of self-defense that you walk away thinking, where'd that come from? That was incredible. Well done, me.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Sort of the star moments of when something came to your mind or something came through you, really. Oftentimes my experience is when I speak the magic words is that something just sort of comes to me and comes out of me, and I'm just like, whoa, that was amazing. Oh, can I tell a star story that just came to my mind there?
Please do.
I was at a conference, and I was young and innocent and didn't really know about the ways of the world. And the person who was speaking before me didn't like me and didn't want people to like me because I was representing a different organization. And so what they did was a thing that is called filibustering. So instead of their hour that they were supposed to speak, they just kept on talking until there was literally only 5 minutes left at the end for me to say something before the lunch break. And I'd never, ever experienced anything like that before. I'm not an American politician, so, I'm an energy person. I was young. And so I'm walking up to that stage thinking, what the hell am I going to do? And it just came to my mind. And I just looked at the audience, spread my arms, and I said, I'm not the sort of person that is to stand between someone and a long-deserved lunch break. So I'm going to just tell you, I'm Silvia Hartmann. I represent the Guild of Energists. We would love you to become our members. Thank you very much. And the whole room just erupted in gratitude, because they'd been sitting there being bored to tears as this other person just kept droning on and on and on about all this bullshit. And they were just like, Oh, thank God for that. There was this explosion of thank God for that. And when so in the lunch break there, people are coming up to me and saying, that's the best speech I've ever heard. You're amazing. Where do I sign up for your organization? And yeah, that was when, that was an example of this thing of you don't know it just comes to you. And if you allow that to come out, see, if I'd said at that point, no, I'm not going to say that, I have to say something else, and blocked that out and stopped it, it would have been a disaster and a misery and probably trauma for my poor old aspect back in the day. That's one thing that we very much talked about, is that the big blockages come in from thinking that you might say something really bad, or that you can't say that, whatever it is that you were wanting to say, that came to you, that you wanted to say. And to become aware of that. Magic words to help us grow. It's the title of this show. Oh, by the way, share the show. Share the show.
Sylvia, Alex, I'm thinking you prefixed that star story by saying that you were young and inexperienced and as a presenter.
Yes.
How would you have changed that day if you had a time machine that could advise and be the personal assistant of that younger Sylvia?
Well, I would just leave it run exactly as it did. I mean, she was sitting there in the audience just the same as everybody else, getting fed up and tired and bored, and the chairs were hard, and this was just a perfect unfoldment. But I do remember thinking that as I'm walking up the stairs, these wooden stairs by the side of the stage to go to the podium, that I kept thinking, what am I going to do here? What am I going to do here? Consciously. And there it brings us to asking and receiving as well, I think. Asking and receiving, what are the perfect words that I could say here? Rather than I don't know what to say, or to actually ask yourself, what are the perfect words that I'm going to say here? And see if something comes to you. Worst case scenario, nothing comes to you and you still don't know what to say. So you're no worse off than you were before. But chances are that your dear energy mind responds, or a memory comes to you, or some nudge, or, and this was interesting, I had a situation with a marketing person who was boring me to tears, and I didn't really know how to get out of it. And just thought, oh man, how am I going to get out of this? And my eyes completely got focused on their shirt, which looked like an Australian Aboriginal painting. And I just just said it. I said it in the middle, completely unrelated to the context. When that woman took a breath, I just said it. Wow, your shirt's like an Aboriginal painting from Australia. And she immediately went into this thing. Oh my God, you noticed that. Oh, wow. Yes, I had this wonderful experience with the sunrise, with that big lump in the middle of Australia in the desert. Can't remember what it's called, Uhura or something, Uluru. And the whole thing just transformed magically. And we had this lovely 10-minute chat and could go away from this feeling happy and delighted. So, yeah.
There's a couple of things I'd say about that, which is quite interesting. So I've been to conferences and I've been really worried about going to them, thinking that everyone hates me. And I turned up and no one had a clue who I was. Now,
I think that's a general rule for life. That is a general rule for life. Nobody cares. They're all too busy with their own thing going on to even care to notice you.
That is the punchline of that story.
Me,
Yeah. Everybody's worried about, maybe I didn't put the right shirt on today. Maybe I could have worn more jewelry. Oh my goodness, I forgot to wear that bracelet that always gives me luck. It was everybody's spending so long thinking about themselves. But you know what? Like, as soon as I realized that no one had a clue who I was, that was it. Straight into charm offensive. I'm pretty sure everybody knew me by the end of that conference, which was Fascinating. But what you're saying about, that thought you had as you were going up those stairs, like, what should I do? Let's ask a question. Let's get an answer. And I was having an interesting chat with someone about the difference between sentience and consciousness yesterday, which is exactly the same. Like I was trying to understand where the scientific field is relating to what is said. I thought sentience is kind of like similar to consciousness, but it's way down. Apparently, like an earthworm can be sentient because it's taking in input and reacting to it. Like it knows when it's wet, and it knows what it needs to do, and it does. And the earthworm's got its little brain at the front, its little collection of ganglia.
This is like, do you know, in the foundation course, we got that picture of these beings that swim towards the light because they have light receptors and they know that they're swimming towards the light rather than swimming away from the darkness. They always swim towards the light. And that just jumped into my mind when you said that. Yeah, that's very interesting. So they're sentient too.
So one of the foundations of psychology and also of academic research is this idea of the Battenberg machines, I believe they're called, which is exactly that thing about what we can do, what intelligence can we infer when we do simple things like have a machine that has light sensors that can be like programmed to go towards, like drive the motor a little bit more to go towards the light or be averse from the light kind of thing, which is fascinating. These really simple little machines that you can explain really complex behavior from, which is fascinating.
So they're sentient, but they're not conscious.
Yes. So I was trying to figure out what consciousness was. And from my NLP background, I had this idea that consciousness is, well, I had this idea that when you see a bird of prey at the zoo, and what you have a look at this bird and it's doing absolutely nothing, right? And then you walk past it an hour later and it's still on its perch doing absolutely nothing. Right, and there's a big sign up next to it saying this is natural behaviour. Our birds get flown once a day. Apart from that, they'll just completely rest and just chill. They've got their energy. They don't need to fly. They don't need to prune themselves. They literally just stand there, maybe look left, maybe look right, but that's it for most of the day. And I thought, wow, how different that is from the drive of a human being, where we're constantly, you wake up in the morning and you think, what am I doing today? Right, okay, I need to do this. I need to I can have an extra half an hour in bed because that appointment's been cancelled. Or, it's this constant hierarchy of needs. You remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Yeah, I do. But I would say that's not fair to say that about the poor thing in the cage, because if it was outside of in its natural environment, it'd be the same. It'd be like waking up, I'm wet, I need to fly to get dry, I need to find a mouse to eat. Oh my God, there's a thing that wants to shoot me or eat me. Mm-hmm. It likewise would be consciously communicating. So anyway, what's the explanation for consciousness then? Let's have that.
Well, it's so difficult. You ask 10 academics, it will be 10 different answers, and probably 5 of those answers would be referring to I actually haven't got a clue. I'll give you some examples that really don't correlate. Like for example, advanced vision system. The amount of processing, like we have 400,000 pixels worth of eye information coming in, and like the generative infills we can do. That thing where you put your finger, like your thumbnail up, that's as much high precision optics that you have, and the rest of your vision's just generative infill. Like when you go on AI and you can remove someone from the background, like
can I say something beach. Here?
Go for it.
We have now. It is absolutely clear to me that we have at least 12 senses, not just 5, never mind 5, not just 6 physical senses, yes. But when you close your eyes and, as we call it, go into sanctuary, or you just close your eyes and imagine an orchard full of lemon trees in Spain under the hot sun, the visual input, with the bird singing, the auditory input that you're getting, all the kinesthetic input, the smell, the taste on your mouth, all of those things are traveling on completely different neural pathways than the sensory information that comes in through the eyes with the receptors that you just mentioned there, for example. So that's the same thing. You're focusing on one thing, and the whole rest of the world generates itself automatically, holographically around that thing. And this is just a wonderful thing. This is certainly something we are going to be using in the Christmas, the Winter Wonderland Star Lab. And thank you for bringing that up, because that is so cool.
It's fascinating, though, isn't it? Like if you have someone with all their needs met, you know, they've got money in their account, they've got food in their stomachs, they're warm, they're clothed, they're indoors, they've got absolutely nothing to do with their lives. You know, there's no children asking for a taxi ride. There's no parents asking help with their computers, or they've got absolutely there's nothing that they can do apart from exist. That's the only thing that they have to do, is exist. Now, human beings are just, I see these people, I see some people like that on the train. They don't have any earbuds in. They just sit there without any kind of entertainment, nothing, no books, no papers, no TVs on there, no tablets, no screens.
I have seen such people. Yeah, I have seen such people too. Yeah, it's very strange, isn't it?
Into the distance. And I realised their version of consciousness is quite different to mine.
Yes.
Their experience of the world is going to be, the machinery they've got is highly similar, but the actual their version of reality is going to be very different. And it made me realise that the NLP model of things, where we have people that tend towards more visual internal processes. So you can be talking to them and they can be talking to you happily, but they could also be watching a movie in their head. You know, they can be watching this going on. And then you have the people that are more sound based and the more kinesthetic based that are like, oh yes, and then I caught a big fish, and then I went over there, and oh, it was so amazing, you know. The more kinesthetic, like people that were actually quite in their bodies.
Yeah, so my friend called me on the phone and said, "Do you want something to eat?" And yeah, it was delicious. I like that. I like that. Do you know how much trouble I have to get people in our courses and trainings, and even in the Star Labs, to actually make the movements? Like, you know, when they're telling a story, the sun is rising. Make the movement. Don't just sit there and go, the sun is rising. Don't do that, you know, or express that energy flow in physical way, because that is much healthier, much more interesting for the people you talk to. And generally speaking, just, you know, when you're saying that the sun is rising, make the movement, people. Do it. It's healthy. It's healthy for the energy system. Hey, let's cycle back to how we can help people who are watching this improve their lives with magic words. And a big one that we really got quite fascinated with is how you speak to yourself, how you address yourself, how you speak about yourself. But that's another thing, speaking about yourself, that other people can hear. What you say to yourself when people are not listening.
Yes.
That's really
it's fascinating. I didn't realize how personal that was going to be. You know, I had huge resistance from sharing that with the Star Lab group, because it just seems so, I don't know, like my internal world. You know, like there's so little concept of privacy these days. You know, when, you know, it used to be the case where our home phone lines could be tapped, and you'd have to walk outside in the garden to have a conversation kept in private, like, you know, kind of thing. But these days, with, you know, our mobile phones are on our desks, they're in our pockets, they're, you know, TVs have cameras on and all sorts. I mean, the thoughts of privacy is, I mean, it seems like our internal dialogue is the last bastion of privacy.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating, actually, to
well,
reveal.
It takes me back to what you said about that you thought everybody hates you, but nobody actually knew who you were. This is a similar thing, you know. We have a lot of clattering in the background. I wonder what's causing that.
Oh, I'm sorry for the clattering in the background.
Oh, well, we live lives, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
and there's nothing you can do about living your life. Okay, yeah, so the internal dialogue, and one of the things that I've found particularly interesting is when you are using internal dialogue to really talk to yourself kindly in order to help you overcome challenges and problems. So to actually say to yourself, like, it's okay, I know you're tired, but you can make it just one step at a time. Take a deep breath. And to actually say that to yourself, it is really effective. Or when you've done something wrong, you've broken something, or just done something wrong, made a mistake of some kind, instead of going, oh, I'm such an idiot, blah, 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 blah. What a fool I am, you know, I'm always getting everything wrong. To literally put a stop to that and to say calmly, yes, you made a mistake, take a deep breath and, you know, move forward. What do you need to do next? And actually really asking questions of yourself, What do you need to do next? What is the next thing you need to do? And to tell yourself to take a deep breath. And I think that is super, super helpful. And if you don't do that, do it. And if you already do it more.
Yeah. And also, I'd say, Silvia, look out for meta comments. Would you like to explain to our wonderful viewers what a meta comment is? Because they're life-changing.
Meta comments are life-changing. Well,
all right, I'll explain it then. So you'll note it's one of these kind of +10 energy experiences that you may have, where you actually say, for example, something you get this in trauma as well as in the high star positives of your life, where it actually, if you trace back to that moment of something amazing happening, or you something I don't know, like you're on that beach then it's a happy experience, and you can see the sun just setting behind the hills across the sea, and you just realize, oh my goodness, I am happy. This is where I want to be. And that would be the meta comment. And, right. And you have this in trauma memories as well, where people say, that does it, I won't let another man near me, case example. Or
getting bitten by a dog, and now all dogs are dangerous, or dogs are of the devil and such. Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly.
I wasn't entirely sure what you were referring to when you said meta comments, because that is the pure definition of them, is that we have an experience and then we meta comment on it. And that may be, in fact, the definition of consciousness. That you're not just having the experience, but that you are making a meta comment on it. You're thinking about it. You are processing it one step further, rather than just leaving at the experience itself. I think that's really fascinating. So how do meta comments help us with
the thing is
growing?
The meta comment is linked to that star event or that trauma event.
Yes.
They are not the star event or the trauma event. I think of the meta comment as being like the library card that shows you where that energy is actually located.
Where it's come from.
Yeah, exactly. They take you back actually to that in a way that is great for like working on something, processing something, writing down a star memory. But yeah, it's the meta comments where the sheer power is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the magic words, they are the magic words.
They can be. Well, they are. You're right. Because there can be a curse. There can be a curse on the rest of your life. And yeah, magic words can be curses too. Totally.
I think you said with Richard Bandler, after he got his degree from a university, this is the NLP founder, he got his degree from university and then said, right, that does it. I will refuse to learn another damn thing.
For the rest of my life.
For the rest of my life. That's a
no, it wasn't him who said that.
Isn't it? Oh, was it not?
In his story, it wasn't him who said that. It was he observing somebody doing that, who was in the same group of people.
Right. Okay, I understand.
With the hats on. I don't want to smear his name, but he just might have made it up completely. But there seemed to be a lot of scientists around who are like, their original study has been done. It's just, yay, I've got my PhD now and never need to learn a new thing for the rest of my life. So that's really quite a useful thing. Meta comments as magic spells. Now that's a topic for Star Lab. That's a bit beyond really what we're doing here in the context of the energy show, because we don't know who has found us, has come by. And hello, it's lovely that you're here. I mean, we are so delighted. And also our good friends who have been following us for such a long time. Oh, quick funny story. Zoe told me that somebody had contacted us, a gentleman who had started a correspondence course in EMO in 2008, and he wondered if he could complete it now.
That's incredible, isn't it? 2008. And the craziest thing is we said yes.
Well, of course we said yes, of course, because he made us laugh. This is hilarious. That's 16 years. That's a hell of a pickup, but why not? Why not?
Well,
it's nice that he's come
16
back.
It's 16 years slightly wasted, isn't it? I mean, my goodness. Well, maybe the thing with your courses, Silvia, is there's so much information in every single unit that I fully understand someone would get 2 units in, 3 units in and say, you know what? That's incredible. Let's just hold. I've got enough. My brain is spinning with information. Let's just park that. Let's just let it settle. Let things breathe for a little bit. But 2008.
Yeah, that is, I think, a record on the slow burner for starting a course and finishing it. But I'm glad. I'm happy they're back, and I'm happy that they got signs that they should be completing the course that made sense to them after 16 years. Brilliant. Welcome. So, yeah, let's go. So, magic word, self-talk. Absolutely start paying attention. Start paying attention how you talk to yourself. Please be advised that talking to yourself isn't some kind of mental illness. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing that we have that the other creatures don't have. I don't think they have the capacity for doing that, to saying really literally when they're not feeling well, okay, you go and lie down on the couch now and I'll put the blanket over you, and
we've got language, Silvia.
We have language and consciousness and thinking, reflexive consciousness, for whatever it's worth. But finding ways to encourage yourself. So you do feel like, and you think to yourself, oh God, I'm so tired. I'm so miserable. And we do that all the time. Take a moment and say something nice to yourself. Something like, I'm not surprised. You've been sitting here or working at this for over 2 hours now. Take a break. Get a glass of water. Have a little walk in the garden and you will feel much better, my darling. People always talking about self-love. But that's a practical way to demonstrate self-love. But at the same time, as you're doing this compassion for self, this support for self is an energy movement that strengthens your energy system. And also gives you this idea that, of course, I am my own hero. Of course, I have already helped myself. Of course, I have already got myself out of really dire situations. I take care of myself. I look after myself. I try and protect myself. And making that a part of your life and doing it practically on small things, like when you've been, working too hard for too long, or your eyes are burning because you've been playing computer games too long or watched the screen too long. Or your neck's in a crink because you've been staring at your mobile phone for too long.
Instead of doom scrolling. That's a huge problem these days, isn't it?
Yeah. Instead of saying like, I shouldn't be doing this, I'm an idiot, why do I do this, blah, blah, blah. Just to saying, okay, right, take a deep breath. Let's do something else for a little while. Let's just carry some objects from one place to another, which is my code word. Instead of washing up or folding the laundry or sweeping the garden path. I just use that phrase, which is a magic word for me, is I'm going to now move some objects from one place to the other. And those objects may be dust on the floor that need to be moved into the bin, or, dishes that need to be moved from the filthy pile back into the cupboard. Could be anything, really. But moving objects from one place to another, that I find that quite inspiring, and it helps me get up and do something for a change. So
power words. And everyone has unique power words.
Yes.
And it's as well, especially if you're like, say, for example, English is your second language as well. Like, it's interesting how our power words are different in our own language to the language, that we're speaking now, for example. And also it's fascinating as well, the meaning of words, isn't it? I've seen people have arguments for hours, and I fully realized that they had no idea what the other person meant by that word. I was like, they're going to come around to it eventually and realize that they're having two separate arguments.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, I've got two things there in my mind right away. The first one was I had I think it was a Taiwanese student back in the day on a Project Sanctuary course. And there I used the word spirit and ghost. And in the Taiwanese culture, these are really scary things. They're really arg. There's no such thing as a friendly, happy spirit or a friendly, happy ghost. They are really scary, scary things. And so this person was super resistant to this exercise. And eventually I figured out that it was because of that word. So she needed to have a different word being used in order to be able to unlock not only that exercise, but a whole level of understanding with Sanctuary. So words that are troublesome, cleaning words, word washing machines. Oh, there's so many wonderful things you can do with the magic words. But we're running out of time. So I want to really highlight the final one. Final tip for magic words that help us evolve is to learn the art of the setup. This is related to what we were saying earlier about the asking for it, like what's the perfect word to say here? To actually make a setup. Let my words flow with ease and wisdom. Give me a poem that will uplift me, or give me a poem that will uplift that person. Give me a poem that I can post to Facebook and uplift the entire internet by giving something beneficial or positive. To literally make this setup give me something for that person to feel better. And give me something so this old lady smiles again. Give me something to actually get a flow going on that, and so that your dear energy mind understands, oh yeah, okay, I'll give you something. And then you have to then put that out, either as energy or as word or as a thought or as a prayer, as a spell, whichever way you want to conceptualize this. Give me something beautiful for everybody who watches this video. And I just got this, blue crystals, just loads of blue crystals, sparkling, super precious blue crystals of wisdom and clarity. And those who find them will become rich beyond their wildest dreams of avarice. So there we go.
Oh, beautiful.
Magic words.
Yeah, beautiful. I think my top tip would be, when you say something, you normally have an idea how people are going to react to it. Normally you have an idea of, like, you say something and you normally have an idea how their facial expressions are going to be, whether they ask you more information about it. And I find it really fascinating when people don't react as you expect them to. And that shows you so much about them.
Yes.
So much they reveal themselves to you in such a fascinating, interesting way. And some people, you can use that information to get them back on side and maybe say something different or in a different way, or but there's so much information coming in a conversation in your magic words, forward and back. And yeah, I find that I've learned so much, not just on how people, what they would say to your words, but how they react, and how they it reminds me of that time I was trying to teach someone to dance, and I was saying, and I was making it more simple, my explanations more simple, until I realized they had no idea what the drum beat was.
Wow. But that's really good, because you need to take it back and back and back and back until you reach that point, and it may be as way back as like you're talking to a 1-year-old or an 18-month-year-old, that some piece of learning was missed somewhere along the way, and everything that was built on top of that,
yes,
they can't access, can't deal with, can't work with, because this building block right down at a very early age was missed out on. So brilliant that you discovered this by yourself. Big round of applause for that. This is something that I've come across a lot, and it's one of the reasons why our training manuals have pictures in them.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Sometimes you don't have to read the words when you see a good picture or a good diagram.
Yeah, or it's a thing. Yeah, so I think we've run out of time. We have got to go.
Yes.
So yes. I would absolutely invite you to pay attention to the words, the energy, to think a little bit, especially there are so many people out there who are trapped with their friends and relatives in really unhealthy, circular, predictable communications that always end up pissing off everybody involved, and they feel negative and draining and miserable. See if a few changes of words can change that. Give me something to make this new, to escape from that loop that we
spread a little happiness as you go by. Please try.
Please try indeed. Yeah, but keep a mind on the magic words. They are absolutely fascinating. And when you actually combine that with energy and experience, real emotion, the feelings that people have when they respond to words, that it's a whole realm of fascinating and intriguing investigation that awaits every one of us. Yeah, yes. So Alex, say something to thank everyone and ask them to subscribe and like.
We look forward to welcoming a new group of lovely people on our Star Lab about the Wonderland. That's going to be very exciting. So think incredible journeys in your energy mind. So that starts on Monday. And apart from that, thank you so much for watching our energy show. Please remember to leave a comment below, because we want to hear from you. What magic words have you said? What magic words have you heard? What words did somebody say to you that made all the difference for who you are today? So yes, bye for now. And remember, speak easy.
Yes, thank you very much. And we'll see you for the next energy show. Same time, same place. Bye for now.